Hello and welcome to my Multiple Intelligences unit plan. This unit plan is 2 weeks long and it is titled Rocks and Minerals. It is 6th grade science geared more towards special needs students, considered mild to moderate. The objectives are students will be able to classify minerals, identify rocks and minerals, and understand mineralogy. Students will be able to describe the rock cycle, the 3 transitions, and how rocks are formed. All 8 intelligences will be used throughout the 2 weeks. All lesson plans will be geared toward all 8 of them. Here are the Common Core standards that we will utilize throughout the 2 weeks. Also, the technology standards that we will hit on in the 2 weeks too. The 8 intelligences that will be hit on throughout the 2 weeks are verbal linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, visual spatial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, musical rhythm intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, and the natural intelligence. All of the assignments will hit on at least one of these intelligences, and all 8 will be used throughout the 2 weeks. We will be using multiple forms of technology throughout the 2 weeks. For example, the Interwrite Pad, computer, internet, red laser pointer clicker, the PowerPoint, overhead projector, iPads, coffee pot, the Smule app, QR codes, different websites and applications, email and recordings on smartphones. Week 1, Day 1. The students will take science notes on rocks and minerals. The teacher will pass out the packet of notes and the students will fill in the blanks. This is a closed strategy. Teacher will read from the PowerPoint presentation as students fill in the blanks on their note packet. Teacher will be walking around the classroom making sure students are on task, and he or she will be using the red laser pointer clicker. And this particular assignment hits on linguistic verbal intelligence because there are written words on the notes and written words on the PowerPoint, so the linguistic verbal learners will be able to learn from that. And then it is hitting on the visual spatial because the students are able to see the notes on the PowerPoint screen and on their paper. And for Day 2, the teacher will finish the notes from the previous day and then ask any students if they need to fill in any blanks, if they were absent or they need to catch up. And then the teacher will show pictures on the overhead projector of different rocks and minerals. Teacher will ask questions and spark discussion. Discussion should hit on rocks and minerals and what they mean to the students. The teacher can ask where the students have seen the rocks and minerals, if they think they are valuable. And the teacher is also not sitting at the computer. They're using the Interwrite Pad while walking the classroom. The students are required to write in their science journal a summary of what they learned from the class discussion. This hits on the interpersonal because the students are able to write down their feelings of how they feel about the rocks, what they mean, the rocks mean to them, and the outside area. Also, where they're found. And it hits on the verbal because the teacher is sparking discussion and the students are responding. And also visual because the students are able to look at pictures from the internet that the teacher is showing. On Day 3, the teacher will take the students on a campus field trip. They will look for rocks and minerals, and the students will collect a few items and describe the physical properties, the streak, luster, hardness, cleavage, fractures, color, and if it's silicate or non-silicate from the iPads to their group. And they'll be in groups of 2 to 3, and students will record group discussion on iPad or the smartphone and email it to the teacher. And this hits on the naturalist because the naturalist learners are able to go outside and enjoy the great outdoors and see with their own eyes and feelings about nature and the rocks. And this hits on interpersonal because they will be working in groups of 2 to 3 and they will need to communicate. And visual and spatial because the students are going to be outside in the open area, provide lots of space for them, and they can see. It's visual for them because they can see the rocks on the ground outside. And it hits on bodily kinesthetic because the students are able to hold the rocks, feel the rocks, and get a great feel of them. And for instance, if they're hard or soft. And then musical because they will record their group discussion. On day 4, the students will choose one item from the field trip and research it. The students will find the streak, luster, hardness, cleavage, fractures, color, if it's silicate or non-silicate, and the students will present their findings on a Wordle. They will use a laptop or computer and present it to the class via the overhead projector after emailing the Wordle to their teacher. This hits on linguistic because there are written words and the linguistic learners can see that. The logical, because it's the Wordle is like a graph or a chart, so the logical learners are able to picture the rock cycle in that Wordle. And then visual, because the Wordle is a visual for just about the whole class. I mean, they could see the Wordle and how it's shaped and the words are in it to describe the rock cycle. Day 5, the students will watch 2 YouTube videos and take notes on a KWL chart. The YouTube videos are about the rocks and minerals, and then after the videos and the KWL chart is finished, the students will listen to a rock and mineral song also from YouTube. And this hits on the musical intelligence because the musical learners are able to hear and listen to a rock and mineral song. It is visual because the students are able to visualize the outdoors by watching the YouTube videos. These are actual videos taken from the real world. And then the naturalist, because the students are able to see nature outside on video.
Minerals have special properties to help identify, observe, identify it. These minerals, they're naturally occurring in organic.
Now for week 2, days 1 and 2 are pretty similar to last week's. Days 1 and 2, they will be doing the closed notes on the packets, and then they will have class discussion, and the teacher will show pictures of the rock cycle, and then they will have to do the science journal summarizing what they learned about, and it will hit on the same intelligences as said before. On day 3, the students will receive a piece of paper with several QR codes on it, and the students will have one partner. Students will click on each QR code with their smartphone or iPad. Students will discover that they are going through and learning about the rock cycle, all while memorizing and visualizing the rock cycle. Students will think, pair, share with their partner, and they will create their own QR code linking the teacher to what they learned. For example, a picture of a rock cycle. And this will hit on the visual, interpersonal, and verbal intelligences. Visual, because the students are using the QR codes to visualize in their mind, and it's like traveling through the rock cycle. And then interpersonal, because they are working with a partner and they need to communicate. And also verbal, because they will be speaking to each other and they need good communication skills. On day 4, students will be creating a story, and they will be creating it on a 3D comic cartoon, and they will use the real rocks. And then after they're done with their comic, they will create a song describing the rock cycle using Smule or the .com or the Smule app on an iPad, tablet, or smartphone. And this hits on musical because they will be creating a song, and then bodily because the cartoon is 3D. Visual also because the comic is 3D, and the students are able to visualize the 3D components in their head. And then intrapersonal, because creating a song is intrapersonal, and the song will come from within. And then logical, because the students will be taking the time to create the 3D comic cartoon and the song. On day 5, the students will perform the rock cycle experiment lab, and they will create igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks. And the students will, after the lab, will have to fill out a blank rock cycle worksheet from memory, and this hits on visual, bodily, and the naturalist intelligence. Visual, because the students are able to see from the experiment that they can create these rocks and how they're made outside. And then bodily, because the students are able to feel the rocks with their bodies and and with their hands, and then naturalists, because the naturalists will be able to look at the rocks that they made and visualize them outside in nature. I learned that we all learn differently, all students learn differently, and teachers need to create assignments that reach all 8 MIs.